we don't need to be so negative about Jimmy Garoppolo all the time. And it's fair to go back and remember why the contract made sense when they offered it, when he signed it. I was a big proponent of the Niners offering him a contract instead of just franchise tagging him. The way I looked at it at the time was they couldn't play that wait and see game that Kirk Cousins, Washington played with Kirk Cousins, because the Niners just traded. They were invested. They anteed up. They gave a second-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo. You can't now all of a sudden be like, well, we don't really know. You got to give him something, and what they gave him was something that is team-friendly, although they haven't exercised the portion of it that is team-friendly yet.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right, because you went out and you made that as soon as they made that trade to bring him in, knowing that he didn't have a contract, you pretty much knew what his number was going to be. You pretty much knew that he was going to make around, I think the franchise tag that year was about $23.2 million, just to give you a quick round number. And so you knew that his first year was going to be right around that range. And, if you go that franchise tag route, the only reason you're doing that is because you're turning it into a prove it type of a deal, because he's only played 5 games, so you don't know what he's going to turn out overall. Right. And by doing it the way they did it, where they gave him a 5-year deal, it allowed them to maneuver the cap hit around. That 2018 cap hit was $37 million, if you remember.
Yes.
But having year one cap hit at $37 million allowed them to drop it down to only 20 for 2019. And by having that lower cap hit number, they were able to bring in D Ford, Quan Alexander, all these guys that kind of turned the defense around and turned them into a Super Bowl team. And it's all about, the only problem with the Garoppolo deal is that he hasn't performed to the level of the deal.
The torn ACL. I mean, it's the same thing with RG3. He's just never been the same. Who knows what he would be like had he not torn his ACL, but he just has no confidence or movement skills anymore.
Yeah, but even if you go back and you watch him in 2017 when he was moving around, he doesn't move. He doesn't move around that well now, but he's still. Yeah. But it's pretty close. I mean, if you go back and watch him like against the Cardinals in Week 1 of 2020, he's moving around pretty much the same. He's never been a guy that you're really, as a defense, you're going to worry about taking off.
No, that's true. But I feel like, I guess, let me be precise here, because he's not a scrambler. But I felt like he was tougher. Like he would hold the ball longer, and he would take shots in 2017. And now I feel like he's very much more in self-preservation mode when he's on the field. I almost feel like he's soft. I thought he was tough.
I think yeah, exactly. I think in 2017 goes back to, he didn't know what he was doing, right? He's just out there playing ball, and he's just out there having fun. He knows just enough to be dangerous.
True.
And so he's just out there winging it. And now you're at a point where even in 2019, he played fairly well. I mean, he had his moments, and that's the hard part with Jimmy Garoppolo is he's just maddening, because he'll make really, really bad plays and just get super frustrated with them. But then all of a sudden you look up at the scoreboard at the end of the game, and it's 24-23, and there's, a minute left, and they're driving out to kick a field goal to win the game.
It reminds me a lot of like Ben Simmons in the NBA. Very productive, very limited. The weaknesses get harped on and harped on and harped on. He becomes less and less confident, and all of a sudden you're this big problem because you're so highly paid. I don't know if that's a good metaphor, but something like that. I mean, he is a good player, and he puts up good numbers in a lot of ways, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, and the other thing, going back to the topic as far as why it made sense, and what the people that don't like the contract, what they'll say is that the 49ers should just give him a franchise tag, because then in 2018 he hurt his egg, right? Hurt his knee, so you wouldn't have had to pay him as much. You wouldn't be under this big contract. Well, okay, let's play that out for a minute. 2018 he hurts himself, so you had him play under another prove it deal in 2019 for, let's say, $15 million. $5 million less than what he. Okay, well, what happened in 2019? He took you to the Super Bowl. So right. It's better. You're in a better position now because that contract was signed in 2018 than if you had run it out that way and that contract had been signed in 2019. Because right now, if that had happened, we'd be sitting and looking at year 2 of a 4 to 5 year deal and a cap hit of 25, 30 million, kind of like what the Rams got stuck with.
True.
Right?
True. One more thing that's just kind of amazing in retrospect. I think what didn't make sense and what you'll never see again is the Patriots just wasting his rookie deal. I mean, I know what are you going to do? They didn't know what was going to happen with Tom Brady, but to draft a quarterback in the top 2 rounds and to have him not play until the last 5 games of his rookie deal and then have to have a team decide what to do next is just the nightmare. Like, why do you want to be in that position? That's not what you want. You want the guy in the rookie deal, and then you want to send him out and let some other team pay him. But paying that guy based on 5 starts, I know you had to do it, but that's all the more reason that they should have just got Patrick Mahomes in retrospect. I mean, just waiting, having to pull that trigger at the trade deadline is, whew, that's a leap of faith.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah, no,
You've seen 2 starts, 1.5.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It was really 1.5, and that's part of why he never really got his shot in New England, right? He had his chance. He was going to get 4 starts to open the season. That was his audition to take over the job. He lasted a game and a half.
He looked great. He just destroyed Arizona, came out and couldn't make it through a game against Miami.
Yep, and then the 49ers make the trade in 2017. Cool, looks great. 2018, right back to 20,
And that's the story of his career. He looks great. Oh, he's hurt. No, he looks great. Oh, he's hurt.
Yes.
Chris Royal says, off topic, but my daughter is watching with me and says, "Go Niners." Can you give her a shout out? Her name is Angelica. Thanks, guys. No. Sorry.
No shout outs allowed.
Shout out, Angelica. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying this. If I were a 5-year-old, my dad maybe watch this show, I might be like, yo, can I just watch Rugrats, please?
No, you can't.
Doug.
Angelica, this is way better. This is way better
Angelica's
than you're
in Rugrats. Angelica was like the mean girl in Rugrats, so I hope. But she probably, there's no stigma on that name anymore. It wasn't when I was a kid, though, because of that girl.